Welcome to the A2 Show with Andrew Cass and Aaron Parkinson, bringing you the trends and topics that affect our lives the most: business, politics, fitness, family, and finance. With over 50 plus years of combined business experience and over $1 billion in revenue generated, your hosts have a unique gift for seeing many steps ahead where others do not. They bring their unfiltered, contrarian views to the show every week to help you win in business and in life.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking today about Bitcoin's parabolic move to finally, Aaron, the $100,000 plus level. Are you a Bitcoin guy, Aaron? We've talked about it before.
I am more than willing to admit when I miss things. I've been looking at Bitcoin at 300, 400, 500, 2,000. I've got a bit.
Yeah.
But
you have a little exposure, though?
Yeah. I mean, more than probably the average person, but nowhere near what I should have, being that I've been in the digital space for a long time. And the best part about this, because you should always talk about your losses and your wins. So you'll get a real kick out of this, Andrew. About 2 weeks ago, I've been holding XRP for about a decade. And about 2 weeks ago, I said, enough of this piece of crap. I'm just transferring it all to Bitcoin. I'm exhausted waiting for it. And literally the next day to now, it's up 250%.
Yep. I bought some recently as well. But you didn't. I don't think you made a terrible move if you put some of it in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is like, Bitcoin's the comparison I make to Bitcoin in the crypto space is Bitcoin is gold.
Yeah.
And everything else is silver and copper and platinum and all the second tier metals.
Yeah. I mean, for this 2 week span, I'm taking the L. I mean, I'm still getting the win with the rise of Bitcoin, but I should have certainly got a lot more with the rise of XRP.
Yeah.
But
that thing was like $1.40. It's now like $2.20.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I bought it. I had it at dollar cost averaged at about 35 cents.
Is that right? Wow.
And I had about 30,000 of them. Mm-hmm. So that would have been a nice six-figure bump.
There's some big predictions on XRP Ripple as well, which we might touch on a little bit here today. The main focus today will be on Bitcoin, but there's some big predictions on that one, Aaron. So that's why I wanted to have a little bit.
She's spurned me too many times over the last decade. She's been flushed out of my portfolio.
What would have been the downside of just holding on to that $2 little Mickey Mouse that you wanted the money in Bitcoin? You wanted to put it in a faster horse.
If you've been an XRP person for the last 10 years, you know exactly why I pushed it all in Bitcoin 2 weeks ago, right? But it's okay. Bitcoin.
I would say, listen, Aaron, at least you made a lateral move and not an out of the game move.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the out of the game move yet.
And I think what we want to bring to the table here today is, okay, now that Bitcoin is pretty much global news, I think it was global news for the last year or two, but when it crossed 100,000, and at the time of this recording, it's early December 2024, Bitcoin just in the last couple of days made its move past $100,000. I don't know if it stayed there, but it jumped up there for a day or two. And now I'm going to talk about today, and Aaron, I don't even know if you're going to know a lot about what I'm talking about today, about why this might be, and looks like it is, an asset class that you want to pay a lot of attention to and has the chance to build you some tremendous wealth over the years, just like the S&P 500 has for many, just like gold has for many, just like the Dow Jones Industrial Average has for many, right? Just like, I mean, the list goes on, right? Things that have been staples that have been widely accepted for years. There's two political forces at play, and there are two economic forces at play that make me go, okay, this probably isn't one of those trends in one of those hypey things that doesn't have legs. That's really what I want to get across today. And I think a lot of what I'm going to share probably, like I said, won't be known by many. And I'm going to preface this, Aaron, with, and I told you this earlier, I'm probably 100 plus hours into my own Bitcoin cryptocurrency research. And I've invested a good amount of money in it, and I'm continuing to do so. And I also trade actively daily some of the Bitcoin holding companies that trade publicly that have huge options activity. I like to trade options on the side a little bit, right? So I'm in this world. I guess it kind of reminds me of the hundreds of hours I spent when COVID-19 hit, and I wanted to figure out where did this pandemic come from, and why are all these medicines that have been around for 50 years being banned and censored, and why does this thing they call a vaccine not have any characteristics of a vaccine, and what's really going on? And lo and behold, 3-4 years later, I was spot on like an archery guy who just hit a bullseye. So I don't know if I'm there with this yet, because only the future will tell. but it has a lot of the same characteristics where I don't like to really talk about something publicly or even write about something publicly unless I've done a tremendous amount of research. I like to say, once I've crossed that 100-hour mark, which is where I am right now with Bitcoin. So a couple things at play right here, which we're going to talk about. And Aaron, I think you can probably throw some questions at me since I'm going to take most of this here today. But let's talk about the big two. So obviously the biggest move that came in the last, let's call it 30 to 45 days, is because of the election.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you look at, this is the obvious part right here is, okay, the Harris campaign, I don't even know if they know what crypto was, or even if they know that Bitcoin exists, because they're just that was an alternative reality campaign and candidate. So I don't think it ever came up. I don't even think when they asked the question, I think she just talked about how she grew up in a small town in Atlanta. It was crazy, right? But Trump was like, hey, we want to really make crypto, we want to make America the crypto hub of the world. We support cryptocurrency. We want less regulation and more prosperity. That was a message that resonated extremely well with the American public, by the way.
It resonated very well if you look at CoinMarketCap, everything just went bananas. So you've got the obvious, and this is number one, political, the Trump factor, right? Trump came in and said, I want to remove restrictions and regulation that exist in crypto. Now I want to talk about what are those regulations. I didn't realize this myself until recently. Not overly shocked that the Biden administration was responsible for essentially crippling the crypto market while they were in office. What a huge shock. The administration that was responsible for the most amount of business crippling regulation in history was also passing a bill. And I'm going to bring it up right now. This bill was called SAB 121. I'm going to bring it up right now. And this was a bill in a nutshell. I don't want to get too technical, Aaron, that told banks, world banks, commercial banks, local banks, that if any of their customers wanted to buy or own crypto, I'm going to bring this up, that they had to put it on their balance sheet and like hold the keys for the client. It was some really crazy thing that the banks would automatically say, we're never going to go near crypto if you're going to put this much regulation on our customers. So let me show this real quick here.